On this episode of Whiskerman's Podcast, Beards in Business, in the beard section, we talk about bourbon whiskey, oil, butter, while getting updates on events coming up with Whiskerman. While over in the business section, we talked with Dr. Dave from Season 5 of the Blox.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another Beards in Business. We're going to be doing something a little bit special starting next week, so let's cover that right out the gate. So premiering this Sunday, you can watch it on two different locations. You can binge watch it if you download the Blox app, or you can watch it on Facebook, facebook.com/BetaBlox, BLOX. And the reason I'm telling you this is because some of you may know, some of you may not. So last July I was out in Oklahoma and filmed a entrepreneur reality TV show. And it is officially airing. Season 11 is officially coming on air, and it launches this Sunday. So what we're going to be doing on future episodes, rather than talk more in depth about the beard section, we'll still give you a little bit of beard tips here and there. But what we're going to do is we're going to focus on some of the highlights from the episode. So we're going to give you a quick breakdown of the show. Some of my thoughts, what I was experiencing during that episode. So we're going to break it down over the next 8 episodes, unless they throw us a curveball and add an episode. But traditionally, it's been 8 episodes. They're about an hour-ish long. So I will pre-watch them, come here, record. So next Friday, you will have a fresh breakdown of Season 11, Episode 1. And I'll give you some details and behind the scenes of some stuff of what was going on and my thought process as that day or what they recorded unfolded. So looking forward to that. In conjunction with that, since it does launch this Sunday, and again you can binge watch it on the app, we are going to be hosting a watch party to celebrate this. This is a monumental moment for us. This is big exposure. The Blox is a big deal. The community is amazing. So we want to capture that and celebrate with our friends and family. And it's an open invite. So if you're in the Dayton area or close by, we'd love to have you. We are going to be hosting it with our friends at Beckel's Humidor at 33 West Franklin in Centerville. So come on down. We're going to get things kicked off right around 5:30. We encourage you to come in early, grab a cigar, enjoy a nice cigar, grab a drink, whatever. We're going to have some pizza and soda there for you to enjoy during the session. Maybe we'll even get some popcorn. We'll see. So right around 5:30 or so, we'll kick it off with some opening comments, and then we will go right into the show. We may be watching the first episode, or we may do something a little bit different, just depending on how the show unfolds and what works best. But we will show some capacity of the show. So that is Wednesday at 5:30 at Beckel's Humidor and Aficionado. So we'll put up I'll put up a shot at the end. Also going to be showing you a teaser video that we put together. Really exciting things happening. We've got some great things that we kind of told you last week. We were out at G5 Church down in Davenport, Florida, just outside of Orlando. We were down there not only for typical church service, but they also had a leadership conference. And man, PT, Pastor Tim, and Mama G, Miss Gay Gold, and Bree and Blake, and others that spoke. Just blessed us and blew the doors right off of everything. A lot of changes coming. Faith, fitness, family are the three, and that'll go over and have residual effects into the business. So we're looking forward to what's to come from God and what happened this past week. Just amazing information. Amazing blessings bestowed upon us this past week. We're just so excited and can't wait to share that information with others and teach them some of the things that we learned, and we just can't wait to be open to the blessings that are about to come and unfold. So that was a great weekend. So we are sitting here getting ready. We've got the launch coming. super excited about that. But today I want to talk about one of our scents. Today we're going to talk about bourbon whiskey, which is a little weird for someone who's coming up on 12 years recovering alcoholic, but this is one of my top scents. The reason being is one, it's catchy. For those of you that like to drink, bourbon whiskey is very popular. Being here in Southern Ohio, Kentucky's not far from us. It's very popular. So it's one of our top sellers. But the reason I like it is because I have an inner fat kid that some of you may or may not know. The caramel and vanilla inside these two smashed together, and predominantly now everyone smells something a little bit different, but the majority of the folks smell vanilla ice cream, and it is just such an amazing, nice, clean scent that is just amazing. So we sell those in oils. We have them in butters. You can get them on our website. You can come see us. Again, we've got events that are kicking off. We're getting closer and closer to the season. So May 17th, 18th, 19th, we're going to be in Miamisburg, Spring on the Berg event. And I said that right. We'll put up the information at the end. And then on the 19th of May, we'll also be at Merchant Market with the heart of Centerville, Washington Township at St. Leonard. So you'll have two opportunities on that Sunday to come see us and get your stuff in person. We have better deals when you come in person, but if you buy online, flat rate shipping, get it out to you as long as the post office is open, get it out to you the next day. We also have those available in our sample packs. You can get a partial sample or a full sample, and then you can always come give it a smell at our events in person. So look forward to seeing you in person. Please stop by, folks. If you're liking the content, or if you're not liking the content, drop us a line. Leave some comments. Leave us interact with us. Whether you do it here, whether you do it at our email whiskerman@gmail.com, or you go on any of our social media and interact with us. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see, what you don't like to see. We want to improve this and make this the best possible. But the easiest way that you can show us some love is go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button and continue to watch these. It means a lot to us. So go ahead and give it a like and subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate that. So right now, continuing with the theme of the launch of the Blox Season 11, I had the privilege about a month or so ago to interview this next guest that was pre-recorded. He was on Season 5 of the Blox, and we will turn it over to this pre-recorded right now.
There's so many cool folks. So I won't steal any of your thunder there, Doc. Go ahead and give us a quick introduction and let us know what seasons you were on, and then dive right into a little bit about your business.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, John. Appreciate it. I like the model of combining beards and business. I'm a fan of that. So anyway, my name is Dr. Dave Harvitz with Renewed Concierge Physical Therapy. It is a mobile self-pay physical therapy practice that specializes in chronic pain. And when I say chronic pain, I mean getting rid of it, not actually making you feel better for a short time, waiting for you to come back. And so we do several different modalities of treatment that are relatively unique to the medical world, and they're highly effective. But that also means that they're not necessarily covered by insurance, and so that's one of the frustrating parts of my industry. I was on season 5 and had the blessing and honor of being one of the winners. And then they asked me to return, and I was also on season 10, and it hasn't come out yet, so I'm not going to say the outcome, but I'm in there. And so it's been a blessing to be a part of the Blox community, mainly because of how many awesome entrepreneurs there are in the community, and just all of us kind of egging each other on and supporting each other's. It's a community that is quite rare right now in the country. So I'm very thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah. So for those of you, we talked about on previous podcasts, the Blox it's kind of its own beast. It's almost like you know, being in a gang that everyone has but a good gang. Everyone has a like-minded objective to build each other up and see everybody win, which you won't get. I mean, you can go hang out at the local coffee shop
You're not going to get that atmosphere. Doc and I have never met before. I put a post on and said, "Yeah, absolutely, I'll come on and talk about my business and support you." So it's a great community. So you have a very interesting business, dealing with chronic pain because I think not bad mouthing, but it's going to sound that way. Um, as my audience probably knows by now, I'm a veteran, so chronic pain for most veterans is a something we have to deal with because they like to band-aid things. So it sounds like you're more of a let's let's not just get you comfortable. Let's try and eliminate completely. So what are some of your methods that you do to do that that makes you special?
Yeah, I think it starts with a proper evaluation. A lot of times, what I'll tell people is we might sit and talk for 15, 20 minutes before I get you on my table. And my goal is to know exactly what's wrong with you before you get on the table. And then I do some things to confirm it. Right. And so, unfortunately, whether it's the VA system or even just the healthcare system at large, you just don't have the time it takes to actually do a proper history and a proper evaluation. And that's where most of that's the diagnostics. I mean, think about anyone that's in business right now. If you don't have the data, how are you supposed to run your business well? It's no different with an evaluation when you're treating somebody. You don't want your car mechanic taking 5 minutes to find out what's wrong and then maybe making a guess as to what the problem is, and then hopefully it works. But for some reason, we think it's okay to do a 5 minute evaluation and send them off for a couple tests and then just kind of see what happens. But that's kind of how the medical system works. And so what we do is we spend 15, 20 minutes doing a physical evaluation verbally. And then we go into the evaluation with the hands-on portion of it. And we kind of use this like model called like a test retest model. So if it hurts with you extending, I do a technique to improve extension of your back. And if it gets better, that's the guy. If it's not as good, maybe it gets worse. Then that's not the guy, and I'll do the opposite or something. I'm really dumbing it down, but that's essentially what we do as a test retest model. And what's good about physical therapists is that we are very uniquely qualified to assess your movement in a way to know what structure is being stressed. A good example is I know if you said you've got chronic pain, you're a disabled veteran. What that really means is that you've probably been diagnosed with a herniated disc.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah, everyone has. Here's an interesting statistic for you and your viewers. 68% of people who are not symptomatic, do not have pain whatsoever, have a herniated disc. So if you have pain, and I took an MRI, 68% of you will also have a herniated disc. And so there is absolutely no correlation between pain with having a herniated disc and not having a herniated disc. Now, I'm not saying that that's the cause or not the cause, but what I am saying is that if you are diagnosed with one, it's a coin toss whether or not that's actually the cause of your pain. And with my assessment, I can tell you whether or not that disc is or is not causing your pain. An MRI can only tell you whether they see it or not. And that's not even relevant to your healing process.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I remember going through physical therapy when I was still in uniform. Um, they took 5 minutes, like you said. It was a quick, hey, what hurts? Well, when I run, my shins hurt. Okay, we're gonna treat you for shin splints. Until I actually sat down with a doc who's like, you don't have shin splints, man. You've got bilateral compartment exercise induced compartment syndrome. Big difference between shin splints and compartment syndrome. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I think what you're doing is amazing. And so tell us, we'll get into the where you are here in a second, but I think something that my viewers would be interested in is I like to know, hey, why did Batman become Batman? What's that origin story? Found out
Mm-hmm.
on the well, the bats came at him, they scared him. So obviously, hopefully pain didn't scare you and made you want to go and solve it, which could be.
Mm-hmm.
But what is kind of your background story? How did you get into this? How did you become Doc?
Yeah. Well, I actually always wanted to be a physical therapist. It was always drawn to that, even in high school. So right from the get-go, early in my life, I kind of knew I wanted to do this. In fact, I worked in traditional physical therapy for a very long time, about 10 years. And at the end of 2019, Medicare came out and said, hey, look, we're going to cut rates because we're the Medicare. And they do that every year, by the way. Imagine, John, being in your industry, and every year the people who give you money say, hey, we're going to cut you by 3 to 10%. That's essentially the world we live in healthcare world. Even though costs of labor, cost of treatment, cost of Medicaid, whatever it is that we're doing, even though the inflation goes up and costs go up, our reimbursement rates continue to go down every year, down, not up, down. So what happens is my company was a publicly traded company, turns around and says, hey, we're going to cut your salary by 40%. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing. 40% is insane. And so I went out looking for another job, couldn't find one. And this is the end of 2019. And so I ended up starting my own business, thinking maybe I'll do a little side hustle, see some clients and on my own. And because I just don't like insurance. Insurance will dictate what I'm allowed to do. They dictate how many sessions you can get. They dictate how many patients I should see at the same time. They don't reimburse very high. And I'm like, well, this is all. If I was going to create a system that's going to cause chronic pain, then that's going to be the system we would make as the United States healthcare system. And so I bucked that trend. I'm like, I'm just going to do everything opposite. And so I'm only going to see one person at a time. I'm going to put my hands on people. I'm not going to take insurance. And, kind of scary to think, oh my gosh, you're going to pay out of pocket for healthcare. But if it doesn't work inside your network, then why wouldn't you try something outside the box, right? And so I'm a very strong Christian, and so when I was praying about what I wanted to do, I just felt like God said, "Look, I want you to heal my people so they can worship me." Like a very straightforward, like get out of this bondage of pain and into the freedom of relief. And so that's kind of why I went in this direction. And by February of 2020, so this is before pandemic, I had my LLC. I had everything together, did all the businessy things I needed to do for my practice, and started seeing my first clients. March 9th, I was called into my employer's office, the same one that gave me a large pay cut, and I was fired. And so I was fired from my job because they didn't like the competition. Now, ethically speaking, I wasn't any competition whatsoever. Completely separate demographics. I wasn't stealing clients or anything like that, but they didn't like it. And so I was fired March 9th, and then a week later, the whole country shut down. And so I just felt like it was the grace of God. I really believe that, he took care of me during that time, because what ended up happening is from March, April, May, June, my revenue doubled every month. And so by June, I was so full, I didn't know what to do with it. So I ended up starting to hire. I hired my first admin in June. I hired my first PT in September, my second PT in November. And honestly, I think that's a testimony to the quality that we offer. Paying $1,000, $2,000 out of pocket to get treatment, but they're also seeing the value and telling their friends, hey, you need to go see Dr. Dave. And that's kind of word of mouth spreads when you're offering something really good, which I think is a lesson to anyone in business, is that if you crush it with your product or service, you don't have to market too much. And so our company is mainly built off of word of mouth referrals. And we've grown into 3 locations in 4 years. And we have 6 providers, and plus me, which is 7. And we are in the process of franchising the company.
Wow. And I think one of the key points in there that might have been glossed over, and I hope that folks don't miss this point of, um, I think the great theologian Garth Brooks said it best. Some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. Um, my story is a little similar to where I lost my job in the pandemic, and at the time you can't see the trees in the forest, and you're like, really, why do I have to go through this burden? And then when you come out of it, you're like, okay, I didn't see,
Mhm.
no one typically looks at their losing their job or getting 40% of their income cut as a blessing, but it's stay in. For those of you that believe, we're not discriminating against those that don't, but there is ties between almost every person I've interviewed to this point that faith plays a big piece in, where how success comes. Not saying that there's successful people that don't believe in God. Yeah, they're out there. Shame on them. I said that. I won't edit that out neither. But I really like that. Not only are you breaking the mold and going against healthcare, which puts a target on your back
Yeah.
because you're breaking the mold, but
Mhm.
two, that you're strong enough and manly enough to say, look, I'm faith-based and I'm going to walk the way God wants me to. And you had this calling that God put on your plate and said, go do this. So with that being said, um, I know which state you are. Hopefully, my listeners picked up because you grew your business while in the pandemic.
Yeah, right.
So they may know, you could probably guess three, four states. So where are you currently based out of, and where can folks kind of find you?
Yeah, so we're in the free state of Florida, right? And I think overall the pandemic had a lot of problems with it, of course. But it was neither good nor bad for my company. I just honestly believe that there was just favor on it, and I think you said it right. Like some unanswered prayers are maybe exactly what you needed. And I definitely there was some fear or some anxiety about it. It's like, oh my gosh, I just lost my job. My wife and I just bought a house literally just a few months earlier. We found out we're pregnant with our fourth child, and then losing your job in the middle of a pandemic is quite the you were there too, right? And it's scary. But I will say it was probably one of the best career moves I've ever had. Never had, it was just I don't know if there anything that actually was on that same level because it freed me up to actually spread my wings a little bit, and it gave me a little bit of like, okay, like you're either gonna work or you're not gonna eat, right? And so I just went out there and crushed it. A lot of entrepreneurs don't realize this, but you need to go out there at 90 hours a week. Like you can't build a business on 4 hours a week. Like you truly have to go out there and just grind it out for a little while. And that's okay. But anyway, where I'm from, Florida, we actually are based specifically out of Pensacola, Florida. We do have a location in Destin, Florida, which is about an hour and a half away. And then we just franchised out up into Baltimore, Maryland. And so we do have a provider up there. So that's just the start of hopefully our spread across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know one of the things we were talking before we came on air is, veterans and Destin. I'm sure you probably have a large
Mhm.
community of folks. I looking at your service, and correct me if I'm wrong, but folks are like insurance should pay for this, and I'm sure there's folks that are like, this is crazy insurance. Well, if you take that same mindset and you look at your car, does insurance pay for your gas? Does insurance pay for your oil changes?
Mhm.
And that's really in a bigger way that
Mhm.
if I went through insurance, you're going to do what I've had my entire life of, hey, we're going to put a band-aid on it. We're going to get you just enough. Maybe we'll give you some drugs. We'll get you to where you feel okay for a couple of weeks so that you come back. What you're doing is revolutionary in the fact that you are going in and working with those clients to where you're making them almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're making them pain free to where you're solving the issue. They've got a lower back problem. You're teaching them the way to get it to where it can be pain free.
Yeah, and it's not just teaching them; it's also doing the things to them. Like that's the things we're like body work. It's very generic, and I think a lot of massage therapists use that term. But joint treatment, fascial treatment, muscle treatment, like there are things that I can physically do to you to calm down the nerves, calm down. Sometimes you're in pain for so long that the local problem in your back is not the problem anymore. It sometimes sensitizes your brain, and so it's not in your head. But the problem now is that your brain is thinking the signal's still there when it's not, right? And there are ways to reduce that and just get rid of it. And so that's the problem is the medical system doesn't treat that. And you said it really well with like just you don't oil changes aren't covered by insurance for cars. And it's kind of insane to think that insurance companies are in it for them. They're in it for their profits. And if you didn't know that already, here you are. Insurance companies are businesses for profit for their shareholders. But when you work with me or someone that's outside that medical system where I'm not being reimbursed by insurance companies, I work for you, not them. Right. And so if I'm not doing my job well, guess what you're going to do? You're going to fire me. Okay, fine. Then I'm going to do everything I can to bring that business in and make sure you're taken care of and get your outcome that you deserve and need. And so it's quite a balance knowing that I work for you. I'm going to get your outcomes, and you'll be satisfied with my care because I work directly for you and not insurance companies.
Yeah, and it's revolutionized. I was in the life insurance industry, so I know how that works. Of
Hmm.
Yeah, it's there for a reason, and there's a reason that it's a billion-dollar industry because of what you were saying, specifically in the healthcare world. So, how can folks find you? I know you're currently in Florida and up in Baltimore. So, if someone wanted to use your services in the area, how could they get you? And more importantly, what I'd like would I would do a backflip and then I'd have to come see you and use your services because I'd probably break something. But how can someone who goes, man, I need to get on board with this. I can see the vision of this ship is going somewhere. Let me jump on board. So how could folks do either of those?
Yeah, so you can just Google us. We're Pensacola Physical Therapy. You'll find us, but we also have a website www.renewpensacolagt.com. And if you're looking for a different city, so if it's Destin or Baltimore, it'd be Renew Destin PT or renewbaltimorept.com. And then the phone number I'd give you to call, and we can always redirect you to the right location, is 850-904-4344. And you can go ahead and just give us a call, and we'd be happy to get you set up with a provider depending on where you're at.
Yeah, and we'll put those up at the end. We'll have them so that folks can go ahead and write those down and capture those. So anything else you'd like to talk about? The floor is yours. Anything you want to add, anything it didn't cover that you want to point out now?
No, I think we covered a lot of it. I mean, I can write a dissertation on how the medical system's broken and how we've pretty much designed the healthcare system to have chronic pain for everyone all the time. Not I don't meet too many people that are like, I am pain free all the time, no matter what. And you know, the medical system is designed to give you just enough relief to keep you quiet and go away. And that makes sense because insurance is paying for it, and insurance is not going to pay for the high quality good stuff that we need because again, it's not cost effective. And if that's the case for them, because they don't care about it's cost effective for the client because then they get the outcome. The outcome is being pain free in this case. But if it's the insurance company, the outcome is how much money can I save by still providing the thing that they asked for. And
Absolutely.
unfortunately, they're just not. You're going to get the lower quality stuff. Oh, and one last thing, none of this is a dig on providers, right? It's a system that's broken, and providers are not necessarily in a place where they can do all the good things they want to. And that goes for whether it's physicians, physical therapists, chiropractors, whoever, anyone who's in this medical system. I think there's 99% of us have a really good heart that want to take care of our people as best we can. Unfortunately, we've got a ball and chain called the medical system that is preventing us from doing that. And so I just want to make sure that's very clear.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully the listeners got that because I got it. It's not a dig at them.
Hmm.
It's not a good evil because I know even in the military a lot of docs are just quick. Let me turn and burn, see as many patients as I can because I'm going to get promoted. But the ones that care, and
Hmm.
that's the same. Every field. I'm sure there's someone. I hope there's not bad beard people out there. I can't imagine that. That would make me grow gay. Oh wait, I am gray. That wouldn't be good. But there's
Yeah,
people
I'm
out.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Yeah, it's it's wisdom. I must be one of the smartest men in the world, right? Um,
It's funny you said that. I was having that conversation with my daughter, and she goes, "Dad, why is your beard turning gray?" I'm like, "Well, you know what the Bible says? The Bible says that the gray hair is the splendor of the wise." And she goes, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's wisdom coming out." And it was funny because later that night, it was just the perfect setup. I was saying some snarky things, and she goes, "You're full of it," and I'm like, "Full of what?" And she goes, "You know what you're full of." And I turned to my daughter and I said, "Addison, my daughter, what am I full of?" And my wife turns and looks at her, and I go like this, and she goes, "Wisdom."
nice.
That was like just a drop the mic moment with my wife. It was the best thing ever. So we'll
Well,
end
that's
the podcast with that.
I don't think it's totally accurate because obviously there's lots of gray and there's even more up here. So it's I don't know. I guess I have wisdom in certain areas. I just need it in the right areas.
It's the
So
splendor of the wise.
that's it. So Doc, thank you so much for jumping on. Folks, if you made it to this point, amazing. That means you watched the entire podcast, which is great. Go out and support if you're able to get out there. If you're looking to use the services, I know I've got quite a few folks that are down in the Destin area, specifically in Pensacola. Reach out, get your broken backs and everything else that you guys have wrong with you. So thank you so much for taking the time. It's my pleasure. Stay tuned.
All right, guys, welcome back. What a great guest to have on, and tying in with the release of the season coming up and the success that he's had, and just the breaking of the mold. Doc is just, looking at the way of taking things that are typically done and moved it. And again, another gentleman who goes out in faith and just has, just amazing story. It's just such an amazing person in the way that he's helping folks. So we'll go ahead and drop all his information at the end. And thank you so much for being a guest. So, folks, we've got some great things, some great ways to interact with us this week coming up. So Wednesday, come out and see us at Beckel's. They also have their own signature line. So for those of you that are looking for something different, you come out and get their signature line. Breacher and CLP, amazing scents that are exclusive to the Humidor there. So come out, you can get a twofer. Twofers are always good, right? You come out, you support Beckel's Humidor, buy a cigar, smoke, enjoy a cigar there. Maybe you don't smoke, maybe you get it for somebody else, but you're supporting that local business, and then you come for the watch party. And again, that is at 5:30, May 1st. It'll be Mayday, 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 because things are going to get crazy and wild. So come see us, and then you've got another opportunity later in the month, May 17th, 18th, and 19th. We'll be in Miamisburg, and then the 19th, we will be here in Centerville. We'll drop all that information at the end. Greatly appreciate you guys and everything that you do. And we, as always, send a shout out to the special community of our first responders, our military, and our veterans. Folks, if you can't get behind them, feel free to get in front of them. Until next time.
I'm the owner of Whiskey Bear Company. We sell beard care products, mainly oils and butter.